Hello everyone, how's it going? I hope you've had a great week so far. Welcome to the second episode of our brainstorming series. I promised you last week that we would get closer into more detailed view of what I'm going to be working on in the first scene, but specifically what I'm going to start with is Act 1. Since I have familiarity with writing in a novel-like format, that's how I plan to start with working on this story. I'm going to lay it out Act 1, Act 2, and Act 3 and build my plot in the same fashion. We're going to start with just Act 1 today and go over like main events at the beginning and end of the act and a few in between. A little recap from last week. I told you that my character was going to be a college student interning in a small town and getting a little bit of hate for not being a local. In our very first scene, our very first thing that our player is going to be introduced to is the fact that they are this student. They don't have a lot of time off, but in the time off that they have had so far, they've noticed that the locals don't necessarily like city folk, and you are from the city. In an effort to try and sort of assimilate with your surroundings, you are deciding to spend one of your only days off going on a early morning hike. I basically am going to let the player know that they have previously reached out to somebody to go on a hike this morning because they don't know the area well. And I'm really picturing like a heavily forested area, like small town, where it's almost dangerous to go by yourself into the woods if you have no idea where you're going. So this person realized this and got a guide. That's kind of like the ground the ground base for where we start, and then we are going to have the player move to their hiking area. They're supposed to meet up with the hiking instructor guide individual and they notice that there's another car there, the one that matches the description of the hiking instructor's car. However, the player notices that this car is empty, it is off, and when they look around, they are not seeing this guide. I am going to make the player wait initially and gather a couple visual clues. I haven't decided what they're gonna be yet, but I want them to basically indicate that things are a little off, and the player's probably just gonna chalk it up to the fact that they are unfamiliar with these types of surroundings, having come from the city. So to bring our player / our character from the very beginning scene to our inciting incident, I'm going to provide a choice for the player to either wait there and see if the guide turns up, like if they were just like off going to the bathroom or doing something of that nature. I'm also going to give the player the choice to just start the hike themselves. There is a trail map which they can decide to study the trails and see if there is one that's right for them, first of all, and second of all, if they're going to continue the hike. And that leads us to what I'm calling is the stopping point. The character has either decided to start the hike themselves right away or wait around and decide to follow another group in and use them for direction. Either way, the inciting incident is going to be somebody alerting to a dead body that is in the woods. The character is obviously going to have their life changed by this because they are in the area that this body was found, which automatically makes them a suspect. As I said, there's another group of hikers that are in the forest that has seen this character, and now they have alerted the police to the fact of this person that is no longer existing. There is no option for the player now to pretend like they weren't in this area. So that's gonna be really the point where this story is going to start to begin. The end of Act 1 is usually the point in a story where the character can no longer go back to their old world. They step from one world into another, so to speak. They leave their old life behind and go on this journey, the story that is promised as the premise of, you know, the whole plot. I know that I want to end Act 1 with the character or the player deciding whether or not they want to be a part of the secret society that I mentioned in my last video. Just a little reminder, the secret society solves cold cases, and they typically tell the police the killer or how this person died, or some sort of detail about this person's death that makes it so they have miraculously solved this case. I want to have the player have the option to choose whether or not they want to be part of this secret society or not. So from the point that the body is found in the forest to the point that the player is approaching the end of Act 1, I know that I'm going to need a scene, at least, where the player has a interaction with police. I know I need some sort of scene where the player has a first interaction with somebody in this society, and then how they might feel about the interpretation they get of this person from this interaction. I am going to need a scene where the character really chooses to kind of investigate before making a final decision. I want there to be a period of kind of gathering clues that make them feel as if they should or should not join the secret society. For example, this society is secret, so you can't really ask anybody that's local about it because they're not going to just tell you if they are part of it. And the other thing is that the locals don't really seem to like you much anyways, so how much would you really want to rely on the information that you're getting from them, right? In my inspiration video a couple videos back, I posted pictures which have inspired me in this story creation process, and I shared like a diner image, and I really want like a diner to be like the touchstone for this character or this player returning to either find more information about what's going on, or basically unpack the information they've got and kind of reassess what's going on. I kind of want it to be a home base. I'm kind of deciding how that's going to look in this choose your own adventure game, because I kind of want to include some game like mechanics. I haven't decided where I'm going to put those yet. Probably more so in the Act 2 and Act 3 of the game, and then kind of work into how they work in the Act 1 of the game, and just really have it be a gradual process instead of like a boom, here are all of the things that you need to know. I think I mentioned in one of my previous videos that I am choosing to use a website called Twine, which helps me to kind of build this choose your own adventure out in sort of a game sort of way. It's supposed to be a software where you can literally build one of these choose your own adventures from a story perspective and connect it visually and all that. And I really appreciate the software for what it does, but I really wanted the practice of coding the game myself. So for my purposes, I'm just kind of using it to plan out my story and then have it be something I can refer to and revise as I move forward with this game. I have built a few paragraph descriptions and choices into the plot that I've got going on. I feel that explaining every single choice I've decided to put into the plot might be a little bit excessive, especially since I hope to be able to one day release this game for you guys to play. I am trying to be sort of concise with what information I give, but convey the story that I want to convey without kind of giving too much away. I struggle with wanting to tell you more about the secret society, and because of that, I'm going to tell you more. A few things that I haven't really said much about this society is that first, they have a supernatural, fantastical type element to the members of the society. You really have to earn your spot amongst them after you're invited, because it's I'm sort of imagining that it is transmitted from person to person in a vampire-like way, not like the whole biting on the neck or whatever, but I imagine, you know, some sort of magical transmission where the body is completely changed from the inside out to a point that the person will not be the same again. However, I thought it would be really cool if these supernatural secret society members were actually the ones behind the murders over time, and once previous members are inactive for a set amount of time, or they're supposed to be close to death or already in jail or something, that is when the crimes that they committed to maintain their supernatural status were finally revealed to police. So that's how it's like a miraculous discovery, and nobody really understands exactly how the secret society came to the conclusion that this was the person behind their cold case, but it was. And now I feel like I've given away too much. I am going to end it there with this video. I hope you guys would please support me with a like and a subscribe. If you haven't already, please hit that notification bell so you can be notified whenever I post next week's video. I really cannot wait to keep brainstorming the story for this game. I hope that you guys have had just as much fun as I have. Bye!